Everybody, welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name, and we're here to answer the question: is DPS Wonder viable? I've already done a video on this, but many things have changed that I want to talk about and get into. If you are like me, you like using Wonder, well, primarily for support because he's got so many great support options. However, I don't think we should completely ignore the DPS. Are you going to use it all the time? Probably not, but sometimes it is fun in a video game to use your protagonist as the main damage dealer. So we are going to jump into it. We're going to talk about if you actually want to deal damage with your Wonder, what are you going to do? What are the best personas for that? Of course, I'm going to go through personas that I think are exceptionally good. However, if you're going up against something weak against ice, you're probably going to use the strongest guy you have that has ice on it, right? If something's weak against fire, you're probably going to go with the strongest thing that has fire. He could be, Wonder is flexible, so he could do that. But we're going to assume neutral where there's not going to be weakness involved. And so I'll give you some personas you could stand out that we could talk about. And so when you take a look at Wonder, the very first thing you're going to have to decide is the weapon. Now, one thing you might be tempted to is the Serenite Inferno, because this is our old dagger. This is our old best in slot. You know, we only had 2 daggers, and this one was the damage one, because this increases attack by 56%, and it gives you more damage on top of that. And if you can knock down foes, it decreases their defense. This is actually a better passive, I think, if for a DPS Wonder than this one here, right? This will, even at max level, this is going to give you like roughly the same attack, you know, and then bonus attack here, but it's not going to give you that 36% damage. However, I think something very important to remember or to notice here is this dagger has an attack of 594, and all the new daggers, all 3 of them, 654, 654, and 654. So you're actually just losing, on top of this attack, you're losing additional more attack. So maybe it's possible the damage is still better, but between it being a dagger that requires you to use 3 different elemental personas, combined with the fact that you can't really use the defense down frequently because most enemies can't be knocked down that you're going to be using DPS on, that where it matters. I actually do prefer the new Ex Machina dagger. There is something to be said. Arc Knife is a little more supporty. You deal pretty good damage. Let's say you max this out, right? You got good damage, and then you do elemental attack. You get 20% more damage for 2 turns, and then you also get to lower their defense up to a bunch. This is probably better if you have a more team built around it. This is a very good dagger. However, this one is just very simple. So this is the one I'm probably using. It also just gives everyone attack, gives him attack, gives him attack, gives other people attack. So this is kind of a, I would say this is probably the bridge between a full DPS and a, you can't even see the attack numbers that I'm looking at here, a full DPS and a support Wonder, and it's the dagger I usually use because I never need to switch it out anymore. You can see this has 654, this is 594. So the old daggers are just weaker in terms of the stats, but this one is good. So this is the one I recommend using, but honestly, as long as you're not using Glimmer or All In for a DPS Wonder, I think you're probably good. All 3 of these are very solid options. And as far as the schema here, well, one of the reasons why are we doing this now is because now we have S level. So now Wonder is just getting more attack over time, more and more and more and more and more attack, right? So you can max out most of these. You could probably do this over the All Out and one more. I just like doing this because I use this more, but you probably want to have this 5, this at 4, and then you probably want to crank all of these. These are probably fine where they're at, right? You want the damaging ones, right? This is pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to go into it too much, but pump the S level as much as you possibly can. And then what we talk about is we talk about the personas here. So the personas are where the main damage is going to come from. Now, you can't go wrong with your main boy. This guy is just fantastic. He has a ridiculously high attack. He has built-in, I think he has built-in agility master. I don't think I gave that to him. But attack boost, increased damage, gun boost, right? He has already built in great passives here. And he when you mark enemies, you get extra attack while attacking them. I don't know if you count as your own ally for that. But when they're marked, they have decreased defense. And then when you hit a marked foe, they take extra gun damage. So this is like, it's just probably the best generic deal damage DPS character, assuming like if with the biggest upfront number is kind of what I'm going to say here. Very, very powerful persona. 2 weaknesses is kind of odd, but very good. Now, other ones I think are worth unlocking here for a DPS Wonder is Ko Ryu. This guy, basically, if he's in your back pocket and you hit with 4 different elements, and gun and physical count as elements. I was wrong when I said that in a previous video they didn't. I think my testing was just messed up. But basically, when his turn comes around, even if this guy's in your reserve, you're just going to get a bonus 30% attack. Now, you have to be able to hit 4 different elements, meaning it's not the easiest one to hit, but this will just give you and your whole team a pretty big attack buff if you can meet that restriction. Then after that, I actually think Belial is one of the best single target damage dealers because he has this Flame of Corruption. So he allows you to put on, he has, whatever ailment accuracy, that's fine. But whenever they take continuous damage effect, this includes if you burn an enemy or you put curse on them, even if it's not you, they get inflicted with Hell's Inferno, and they take 10% of your attack as damage each turn. It stacks up to 3 times, and if they're below 50%, damage is increased by 20%. I assume that doesn't bring it up to 30%. I assume that brings it up to 12%. That would be my assumption. But yeah, lasts for 2 turns, stacks up to 3 times. So this is really good because if you just hit enemies, you get 3 of these stacks on them. Suddenly they're going to be hit with just 30% attack every single turn without doing anything. And he has Abyssal Flame here. Deal curse damage to a foe, deal 173% damage. Like, oh, is that the best? It's fine. But you do the Hell's Inferno, which is not as important because it already kind of goes on there, but still. And you immediately deal damage based on the number of Hell's Inferno stacks on the foe. Increase this damage by 200%. So it's like you do the 170. The way I read it is that you do the 173, and then you will trigger all of your Hell's Inferno immediately. So if they have 3, they'll do 30% damage, an additional immediately. But if it's actually 200%, so it would be an extra 60%, so it'd be like 230%, and they still have this on. Also, he has Curse Boost 4 attack. I don't know if he had Attack Master, if I had trained him this. I definitely trained Battle Acumen and Attack Boost, right? So he has curse damage up, attack damage up, damage up, and at the start of combat you get extra attack for a couple turns. Even as a buff there, if you want to use it, could probably switch it out for something else. You could use Demonic Decree to get a bunch of stuff on there, but for the most part, you're using Abyssal Flame. But honestly, it's a pretty reasonable strategy to just have him as your first persona, then have Wonder be slow, and then have a few characters hit the enemy, get the stacks on them by doing either curse or burn or whatever. And then when your turn comes up, you might not even want to attack with it. You might want to switch to your more powerful single target damage dealing persona. And then when your stacks are going to fall off, you switch back to him and get them reapplied, something like that. Plus, then this gets you curse damage and probably fire damage, and then gun damage and psychic damage. You could hit all 4 pretty easily. So this is kind of the personas that I do recommend using for a DPS Wonder. Of course, again, like if you need to do light damage, there's a good light guy. I'll have a different variant here in a second here. If you need ice, there's an ice guy, lightning guy. Obviously use what you need. But these are some of my go-to that I use a lot for just Wonder dealing damage. Now, as for the team itself, one really good thing about DPS Wonder is that you kind of free up, it feels like you free up a slot, because Wonder's always there, and he's always there as like a support. So you're always like, all right, well, I want a buffer, I want a buffer, I want a debuffer, I want a damage dealer, and then I have Wonder as like an additional buffer or whatever, right? But now Wonder being your damage dealer, it kind of frees up, it feels like a slot. So you got your damage dealer, you got your debuffer, you got your buffer, and then I would say a healer, a support. I actually think Lufel works really well in this specific team because he burns at the start of combat. It puts a Hell's Inferno on. You could then burn again. It'll put another Hell's Inferno on while still giving people a little bit of stats as well. And he could heal very, very well. So I think Lufel actually works pretty well with DPS Wonder in general. Leon is just like, Leon is here because we don't have that many other buffers in general. We've got a decent amount of debuffers, but if you have like a stacked Haruna, that's fine, right? Because Lufel kind of attacks, Vino attacks, you attack, so you have a bunch of people attacking, Haruna becomes quite a bit better. You could use Tomoko just for the damage. Cord is obviously really good, but I'm just trying to keep it like relatively simple here. And I do like Rico. You could probably use Phoebe for more damage. Again, this is just like an example team, a little more budget, I suppose, because if you're doing DPS Wonder, it's probably designed to be a slightly more budget team. But yeah, this is kind of like one example of a way I would run that team and the kind of units I would run. I like running a debuffer, a buffer, and then a kind of like this is fulfilling the Wonder support, and I think Lufel fills that really well. A second direction you can go here is on this team. Now, this is less budget, but this is, you can see here, we're actually using Anubis and Pazuzu. So Anubis and Pazuzu are very different personas from a lot of the other ones. They really play with the curse stack mechanic. So if you haven't been using Anubis, you really are missing out. So basically the way his thing works here is after dealing, let's just skip to the part that matters. After dealing curse damage, inflict 2 curse stacks on the main target and a 50% chance to get the blessed stack. When attacking a foe inflicted with curse, increase stack by 27%. Sure. But really, all that matters here is after dealing curse damage, inflict 2 curse stacks. So what's really important about this is, yes, it works with Underworld Judgment. Yes, it works with this one that can inflict curse stacks. So this can inflict up to 4 curse stacks by itself. But also, whenever you do a 1 more attack, if you have 3 enemies, one of them's weak to something, and then you could have like whatever, wind guy, you can have Mona hit the wind guy, you could do a 1-up follow-up attack with Anubis to hit the middle guy, and that 1-up will put 2 stacks. And then his turn comes up, he puts 4 more stacks. If there's a 3rd enemy weak to something, you could hit them down. Then the main target again, you do the follow-up again, boom, 8 stacks of curse, like in 1 turn. Also, if you use the highlight, his highlight it targets 1 foe. This will also do curse stacks. So anytime if this is your main persona, you are hitting with curse, this will add curse to it. So it's very, very, very powerful, and you can get up to 10. I don't know if I've gotten to 20, but I've gotten to like 14, 16 curse stacks on foes before. So if they're not resistant to it, that's very good. And then Pazuzu is here, kind of in the same, a similar boat. Like he could add stacks, but he has a 60% chance when using a skill, so it's not nearly as good. But you do immediately deal curse damage. So once you get all those curse stacks, you could actually do something that will still add another stack or 2 and then immediately blow it up. That way you get more triggers out of it. Very, very good. And then again, we're running this guy just because he's good. So, and the idea between this team is you're running Sumi, Sapia, because he can inflict a lot more curse stacks, especially when paired with Soy. So then this is like a dot team, right? You're putting a bunch of dots on the enemy, getting a bunch of curse stacks, and then trying to blow them up with Pazuzu. This is less of a pure damage and more of like a mechanic, trying to exploit, a mechanic. Cord is very good because, again, his highlight does count. So if you get an extra highlight out of it 2 or 3 times in the fight, that'll be 2 or 3 more curse stacks. Cord is very good and insanely powerful on every single team, but this team, of course, is no exception. So this is kind of a different team, and we will show you, I don't know, here's the thing. We're going to go into this fight, and are we gonna blow your mind? No. All right, here's the thing. Is Wonder going to be as strong as your Joker? Is in AoE? Is Wonder going to be as strong as your Makoto at single target? Just be happy, bro. No, they are not, okay? I'm sorry. That is not Wonder's job. Wonder doesn't do that. We'll go to 25 and ill win. We might actually die in this fight. I don't think we're not going to try to win. We're just going to showcase like some damage numbers. But like just be happy, bro. All right? Just accept your life. All right, let's go ahead. Wow, they got all the burn. Let's go ahead and put the bullseye bomber on here. We're doing this because we love playing Wonder, okay? Not because we actually think it's insane. Probably Cord over Leon is just better for DPS Wonder in general, but it looks like Cord over Leon is better for probably every fight in the whole game, besides like literally one specific thing. So they're already burnt, but if you take a look here, because they're burnt, they probably already have the Hell's Inferno on because they already activated one. But I'm gonna burn them again. Right? It gives everyone the Soulfire, the burn, they get another Hell's Inferno. So now they're at 2 stacks of Hell's Inferno. And let's slow this down to ×2. So you could probably do, this inflicts 2 curse. This just does this, and then you do more damage. So let's pop it. Boom. 8477, and then 14,000. That's not like incredible, I won't lie. Let's go ahead and do one more round. But they do take another 21,000, 25,000 when his turn comes up again, right? So that's pretty good. I am wondering if curse damage here. Yeah, just do this. Just do the more damage. And I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think it matters who you target there. I did this before, and he had better numbers. I think I got a crit. So, not getting... He has a pretty high passive crit chance. Vino is also very good for this, because you're just likely to do the good move, right? You're likely to get burned. But also, you're doing a lot more than just that. So now we got all the attack. Let's go. And you still have all 3 stacks on, right? 3 Hell's Inferno. They're only for a turn, but we are going to... Yeah, increase damage taken. Do it. Let's do it. Keep it up. Oh yeah, all out attack as well. And then we'll try to show this again kind of with Anubis to see how that works. But yeah, you're gonna go ahead and just heal. I don't, my Lufel is very much not built right now. I mean, they're probably a high enough level. So you could use this. You know, in this case, I think we will, to kind of keep showcasing that, right? There we go, 42,000 damage, 10,000 there. They're gonna wake up, kill Lufel, we don't care. Another 24,000, right? So like, is this, like, again, is this blowing your mind? The answer is probably not. But this is what DPS Wonder can do. DPS Wonder can be a very viable character. So let's do the same exact thing, but we'll switch the team, and we'll switch to the more, whatever, all in doing dot stack ones. Hopefully we live to our second turn. This guy does hit pretty hard, all right? And I did not test this team at all. So let's switch here, go to the leveling here. Where do I click? Where do you want me to click? There we go. All right, so hopefully this will be good to do it. Plus the fact that they're weak to curse is helpful for this showcase. Sapia, you do your thing. And I might even have Sapia do his unexpected tragedy. It gives him slightly more curse stacks. It's going to make him do way less damage, but we're not trying to showcase him here. And we are going to go ahead and stack this up. I guess if we did the critical, no, you still got to knock him down. We're gonna do this because this gives Sapia a lot of stacks, and every time Sapia does his follow-up, he does a curse, right? Although apparently that curse missed. No, there we go. Okay. So we'll do this. Hopefully we just live for this first fight. That's kind of my goal. So there we go, another curse stack. Okay, apparently the curse can miss. We all learn things. All right, there we go. So 2, 4, 5, and then we'll probably have you just go here. Come on, don't kill me this turn, please. Please don't kill me this turn. All right, spoiler. All right, Cord died the first time, but not this time. All right, so we're currently at 8 stacks of curse. I had to put some, I didn't have any revelation cards on her. I took it off to put it on like Haruna or something. Why? I don't even remember, man. All right, listen, some of us are crazy here. All right, so we got 10. You see here, we just did the Anubis, and it added 10 stacks. Or, sorry, it added 2 more stacks to be up to 10. Do we want to use this to increase our damage even more? Sure, we're at 6. Let's go ahead and give those vegan petals, the virgin petals, a little go. So because there's only one enemy, we don't get to show that the one more does it, but this also does it, so, like, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Okay, so this should, hopefully we'll get a couple more curse here. Not right here, but after you attack. Yeah, you got to attack here in order to make it happen. Okay, so I kind of wish you weren't 11, 12. Okay, so we went up to 12, not as much as we would like, but still, it is good, because if we had Cord come first, we'd be able to kind of mess around with it. But now, you know, let's just say you get up to 12, then you could switch to the Pazuzu, and then you do the hit, 8,000, and then you instantly pop it for another 44,000, and then let's say Cord comes up and does a catchy hook on someone like, I don't know, maybe our boy here. It would have easily have killed him if we had it set up. I wonder if you could switch the target after you do it. There we go. So yeah, you could absolutely do some pretty heavy damage with a big, like, damage increase. This is not good. The reason why this didn't do it is because we do a lot of our damage through curse, which is like the element, not the initial damage of the curse. So this is actually not being recorded as a times whatever multiplier. So it's not the great for getting 3 stars here, but that wasn't the point of this video. But yeah, so DPS Wonder is real. Those are the kind of personas that I think I recommend using, the kind of parties I recommend using. Things have changed. I think DPS Wonder is viable. I think the curse stacking Wonder with the right team is going to absolutely obliterate some content in the game. That's why you can see bosses now, some of them have like a percent base damage reduction, where it'll be like, oh, they take less damage from things that deal percents of damage. Sorry, Burn's gonna deal less, Curse is gonna deal less. Maybe that's just preemptive for things coming out, but I also think they're seeing like, holy shit, you could do a lot of curse on characters if you could just guarantee deal 30% of a boss's HP one turn. Doesn't matter how hard we make them, they'll probably be able to beat them. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's all for this one. I'm going to do it. All right, I'm going to do it. Get off my back. Much love for platypuses per platypus. I'll see you guys on the flip-flops. Bye.